Good morning and welcome back. We're continuing to look at Jeremiah, and today we come to one of the saddest parts of the book of Jeremiah, and we see how badly affected Jeremiah himself is at the state that his country has come to. I'm reading Jeremiah chapter 11, verses 1 to 16. Yahweh said this to me, let me remind you about the terms of the covenant. Then tell the people of Judah and Jerusalem that I am Yahweh, the God of Israel, and I'm putting a curse on everyone who doesn't obey it. I made the covenant when I brought their ancestors out of Egypt, the land that was like a blazing furnace to them. I told them to obey all that I had commanded, and that if they obeyed, they would be my people and I would be their God. And I would keep the promise I made their ancestors to give them the rich, fertile land they now possess. I, Jeremiah, agreed to this, and Yahweh said to me, I want you to go to the cities of Judah and to the streets of Jerusalem. Proclaim my message there, remind them of the terms of the covenant, and to obey them. When I fetched their ancestors from Egypt, I warned them to obey me. I've kept on warning them ever since. They didn't listen. They didn't obey. They stayed as stubborn and evil as ever. I told them to obey. They refused. So I brought down on them the punishment described in it. Then Yahweh said to me, the people of Judah and Jerusalem are plotting against me. They've reverted back to their ancestors' sins and refusals. Both Israel and Judah have worshipped other gods and broken the covenant I made with their ancestors. I'm bringing a destruction on them that they can't escape. Then it will be too late for them to cry to me for help. I won't be listening. Then they will go to the gods they sacrificed to, but that won't be of any use when destruction comes. Judah has as many gods as it has cities, and look at how many altars to disgusting Baal they have set up in Jerusalem. Jeremiah, I forbid you to pray to or plead with me for these people. I'm not going to listen to them when they call on me for help. Yahweh says, the people that I love are misbehaving badly. They no longer have any right to come into my temple. How can they believe that they can prevent the coming disaster by swearing oaths and offering animals as sacrifices? I no longer know how to please them. I once regarded them as a leafy olive tree full of lush fruit, but now I'm furiously setting its leaves on fire and breaking its branches off. It is sad to see how harshly Jeremiah judges his people. Years of preaching, years and years of pleading with the people and their leaders, and all he sees is hopelessness and confusion. Around the same time, as we saw on day 207, the young Isaiah was telling people in the temple that God would rather have good behavior than sacrifices and neat liturgies. Jeremiah is very specific about what is meant by good behavior. To Jeremiah, it is obedience to the law of Moses, the 10 Commandments, and the 600-odd injunctions of the Torah. What is particularly disgusting to him is the proliferation of pagan temples in every town and the many altars to the fertility gods in Jerusalem. To the people, these were like good luck charms. To Jeremiah, they were fake gods, powerless to help when disaster strikes. There may be an actual event referred to in this text, a revolt against God and the religious establishment. The people of Judah and Jerusalem are plotting against me, is what God says to the prophet. This may refer to a popular revolt that took place against Yahweh and his interpreters when King Josiah perished in battle in the north around 609 BC. Josiah had been a strict advocate of Orthodox Judaism and the keeping of the law. On his death, the people were relieved of these strictures and appear to have reverted to their pagan ways in a big way. That makes today's reading a record of Jeremiah's disappointment and distress. For us in our days, it's not really pagan shrines and altars that distract us from God and his purposes. Nowadays we have distractions galore in a complex of civil and electronic arenas where we are expected to pay our respects in one way or another or be looked down on by our families and our neighbours. In our society, belief in God has declined to less than half the population. And a good chunk of those who believe do not believe in the real loving God, but in some severe and judgmental caricature that true Christians would not recognize. It is a comfort to know that Jeremiah's judgment of his people was not God's last word to his people. But as we shall see, Jeremiah's own sufferings were not yet at an end. He says in just the next part of this chapter, Yahweh gave me the information that I had enemies plotting against me. I felt like an innocent, trusting lamb being led out, only to be slaughtered. This threat continued for much of Jeremiah's ministry, as we shall see tomorrow, and I'll see you then.